So India's latest economic survey just dropped, and wow, it paints a really fascinating, almost contradictory picture. On the one hand, you have this absolutely booming economy, but on the other, you've got a world that seems to be getting more fragile and, frankly, more hostile by the day. So let's unpack this paradox and see what it really means for one of the planet's biggest rising powers.
You can almost feel the tension right here, can't you? On one side, there's this incredible economic dynamism, but on the other, these powerful global headwinds are just pushing back. The huge question is, can India actually navigate this storm?
So in 2025, India found itself facing a pretty stark contradiction. Internally, the economy was just firing on all cylinders. But externally, well, the report card was starting to look pretty messy, and that's what created this massive paradox.
Just take a look at this number. After a really strong recovery post-COVID, India was on track to clock over 7% real GDP growth. And this wasn't just some abstract forecast. This was a reflection of real, on-the-ground momentum, a truly stellar macroeconomic performance.
Okay, this is where the puzzle really takes shape. The good news column? It's fantastic. You've got that strong growth, major tax reforms, and even a credit rating upgrade from S&P, which, by the way, was the first in nearly 2 decades. That is a huge vote of confidence from global finance. But then, there's the bad news. Despite all this, the rupee was struggling, investors seemed hesitant, and then these surprise U.S. tariffs just created massive uncertainty. It's like success at home just wasn't being rewarded abroad.
And we're not just talking about a few isolated problems here. The survey argues that the entire global system is changing, and that presents a much bigger challenge.
We're really seeing a new global reality start to take hold. Trade is no longer just about what's cheapest, it's now about national security. Global cooperation is weakening. You can even see the fear in the financial markets. The survey points out that gold prices surged in 2025, and that is a classic sign that investors are running for safety because they're worried about geopolitical and financial risks.
So based on that reality, the survey outlines 3 possible futures for 2026. And notice this, the 2 most likely scenarios, each with a 40 to 45% chance, are managed disorder and disorderly breakdown. So even the best case scenario is one of constant volatility. And then there's this, a chilling 10 to 20% chance of a systemic shock that could be even worse than the 2008 financial crisis.
So faced with this hostile world, the survey turns its gaze inward. It asks a really tough question. Why isn't India's massive economic engine translating into more strategic influence on the global stage?
To answer that, it introduces a really fascinating concept, the power gap. The easiest way to think about it is this. It measures the difference between what a country has, its economic and demographic resources, and its actual ability to use those resources to shape global events.
And here's the crucial number. India's power gap score is negative 4.0, and that's the lowest in Asia. This suggests that for a democratic nation of nearly 1.5 billion people, a country aspiring to become a developed nation, there is a significant gap between its potential and its actual influence.
But the survey doesn't just diagnose the problem. It actually proposes a solution, a whole new playbook for growth, designed specifically for this new, uncertain era. The first pillar of this playbook is strategic resilience. Now, this isn't just about the old idea of blocking imports. It's a much smarter, proactive strategy. It's about making sure your supply chains are stable, building up emergency resources, and diversifying your trade options so your country isn't dependent on any single route or any single system.
The second pillar is the entrepreneurial state, and this calls for a fundamental shift in how government works. Forget slow, cautious bureaucracy. India needs an agile state that can take calculated risks, learn quickly from trial and error, and adapt without getting paralyzed by indecision.
But look, this new playbook can't be executed by the government alone. It requires a new 3-pillar compact. The idea is that the state sets the direction, private markets drive the innovation and the effort, and society as a whole provides the legitimacy to make these bold changes actually happen. All 3 have to work together.
Ultimately, making this playbook work isn't just about policies. It's about adopting a whole new national mindset. The survey captures this with a really powerful metaphor. India is in a long-term race to become a developed nation. That's the marathon. But because the world is so fragile and changing so fast, it has to move with the incredible speed and urgency of a sprinter at the same time. At its heart, the survey frames this as a deep philosophical choice.
citing ancient wisdom. It's the choice between Shreya, which is the enduring good, and Preya, which is fleeting comfort. Think of it like choosing to invest for retirement versus splurging on a vacation. The path to resilience requires consistently choosing the long-term good over the easy short-term fix.
And so that leaves us with the final, critical question. The challenges are clear and the playbook has been written. But success really hinges on whether all parts of India's massive, complex system can align and work together, to not just withstand the coming storm, but to actually harness its energy and turn these powerful headwinds into tailwinds for the future.